This episode is brought to you by Snapple. Want to know another Snapple fact? The first hot air balloon passengers were a sheep, a duck, and a rooster. Ridiculous. Check out Snapple.com to find ridiculously flavored Snapple near you.
Okay, so hello, welcome to the Royal King CJ Music Podcast. King CJ Music Podcast, where we talk about music, culture, and everything. At this very moment, though, there are like three things I want to talk about, and the first thing being, this so I might seem different, but what we're going to talk about today is roughly something that I don't know. So it's Kendrick Lamar's Juneteenth, or Juneteenth in general. We're gonna talk about these events, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it. And the first thing I'm gonna do is talk about the Kendrick, and Kendrick and Friends kind of pop up situation. I don't know. Like I don't know. I think so this is the thing. I think we got a few good diss tracks from the diss between Kendrick and Drake, and I think we got a solid number of things in which we could truly talk about if we wanted to really talk about them. However, I don't know, and so the crowd's reaction, I don't know. So either the crowd's reaction is because Kendrick released a great diss, but it's weird. I don't know how to explain this. I think the best way to explain this is for me to say that if I'm listening to this album, I don't know, like this song, I don't know. I think people, the Kendrick and Friends, people blasting it, I don't know. I find it weird because maybe I do like 16 in LA or Euphoria better. And I think those songs are going to be played more often. But at this current one, Not Like Us, it kind of lost its effect. And I think the reason it's lost its effect is because people kept playing it. And I don't know. Like, I think if we had went, okay, if these songs had like a couple days to simmer, a couple days to like really simmer, and people like really look into these diss tracks, I think it's fine. But it's weird to sit here and go, I like this diss track because X, Y, and Z. I think Not Like Us is okay, right? That was my genuine reaction. Now, I haven't heard Not Like Us being played a lot, but when you hear Not Like Us, Push Up, I've heard Push Up a few times, which Push Up's kind of lost that shock factor. It's not something where I'm like, you know what, I could genuinely listen to this and enjoy it and think, okay, well, this is something I'm really going to enjoy because, you know, I gave enough time to simmer, I gave enough time to listen, I gave enough time to like settle. And Push Up, the comparison between Push Up and They Not Like Us is not that. Not Like Us has been pushed around the community a lot. And so for me, I'll speak specifically for me. For me, it's kind of lost its sting. Right? Like the only bars that stand out is Baka got a case, which okay. But Party with His Nose Ring, okay. I mean, but it's not Euphoria. It's not 16 where he was talking about, well, he might lie about his family. And that has more of a sting now, right? After the things. And it's weird to me because people are like, oh, the Bloods and the Crips. And so I'm not associated with it either. But it's weird to me when people go, when people go, it was originally like, when people were like, oh, they're getting together, when the whole idea, depending on who you ask, it was supposed to be more like a protection for LA during the time. Right? Originally, it was the Baby Crips, and it was something. It was the names have been blurred. My knowledge on the Bloods and Crips, they extend of who, what this Majority Six were. But originally, the Bloods and the Crips were to protect people from LA, like during the LA riots, because they believed they could do better than the cops. And so for people to go, oh, this is a monumental moment, because all people have seen from the Bloods and the Crips have been at a certain point where you've just seen them constantly going against each other, or the world has made them against each other. It seems weird to me, because from a standpoint of, oh, he brought the culture together because they're on the stage. Well, originally, that's what they were supposed to be. They're supposed to be groups of, well, the names changed and the way they were organized changed. The Bloods and the Crips originally were supposed to protect the community. And so, because it was mainly, because it was Stanley and who else? It was Stanley and, was it Washington? Yeah, originally the Crips were, if I remember correctly, they were supposed to be, but I don't think, I don't know, it's weird to me, because like if you go through, it's weird, because they were supposed to protect the neighborhood. They're supposed to basically protect the neighborhood, and what, 1992 is when they were supposed to come together, because Crips in short is, what is it? Crips in short is what? Community Revolution and Progress? Right? It's like they were supposed to be there for the community, to protect the community, because the argument was being made that the cops weren't doing anything. Right? And we've seen evolutions of them, of the Bloods and the Crips, like, do their thing. But a lot of people, if you don't know the culture, you don't know the history, so you see two gangs, and I don't know. As I said, maybe I'm just too far into history, and I think that's why when they're like, oh, we haven't seen them together in so long, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I have a disassociation. Maybe I have a, and I'm not saying I'm the expert on the topic, but I think when we go, it's weird. I don't know. It's weird to me for me to go, hey, they've been on the stage yet, and I'm not necessarily hating, and I get it. They're not like us. I get it. Because he's Canadian. I get it. But this doesn't have like the same hit. Like Not Like Us was okay when it was hit. I don't necessarily know if I don't necessarily know if that song is played now, if I still have that same opinion on that song. Like, oh, it's okay. I mean, he upped Drake. I don't know. But like it's not really something I'm like, this is okay. Right? Which is making me look back on Heart Part 6 and go, while that may be a flag, is it some truth to it? I don't know. Like, it's like, I think, and I say this, and people will go, well, I don't understand how. It's more memorable. If you give me Family Matters from that beat check, and look, I get it. I'm probably like the only person that loves like a 3 different beat change, and I got it on Euphoria, and I got it on 6 in LA. And it's not like the most catchiest to anybody. They're like, oh, that's not catchy. Why would somebody like that? It's just, I can't explain it, because I'll go, oh, this feels amazing. This does, and to some extent, it really truly does. And it's just not something where, and I think that's part of the problem, where the mainstream kind of messed it up, where people are like, oh, this is the best song I've ever heard. And so when Kendrick gets Dre on there, and I feel a way about it, And I do. I think I feel a way about it because he called you, and I think this is personally my problem with that like kind of thing. He called you a wife beater so you could Dr. Dre, so Dr. Dre says, I see dead people. And I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's a coast thing. And I get it. Dre's a producer, one of the best producers we have. And so, if this is your rebuttal to say that Family Matters is fake because he says that one person I know that bangs YG and YG was on stage, cool. But like, I don't know. I don't know. Like this. You could go when the children learn day free, and that's fine. But without DNA tests, without public information, that's not true. Like I can't verify that it's true or not. So I saying this, like it's just this was supposed to end it, and it was supposed to be a victory lap. And I've said the same thing I said when Drake did Back to Back. While I love, and you haven't seen your kids in 6 months, but you see your kids here. I get it. I get everything about it, but it's, and I love hip hop. I'll say hip hop is a culture where we rap about, where rap is a competition. But at the same time, I don't know. And I said this when Drake did Back to Back, right? Whose tour is it? Like, whose tour is it? Yours or your girl's tour, right? Like, it's, I don't know, like, it's, okay, I get it. On one hand, I'm like, okay, it's nice, it's a show, I'm the better rapper. But where's the proof? Where's the proof? Because I feel that if you make allegations, and I don't think this is my thing, if you make allegations he's a wife beater, where's the allegations? Like, there, you can search it up, you can find the articles on him, but where's the proof? They have no, like, court case cited, and that could be for litigation, or that could just be strictly for the alleged allegations. But you got Dre's kind of where he's like openly said that he was like abusive to women, and that's still an allegation. But if somebody goes look for it, they can find proof. These allegations to me are just like, okay, morally it might be wrong, but we've seen people and we've heard people and even older actors say, hey, I've contacted smaller artists and put them on and got in contact with them and talked to them about stuff, which I'm like, okay, that might be some defense for Drake, but I don't know. Like, to say that this is like 2 years later when ideally this is, Juneteenth is the idea of ideally 2 years after where they were able to get freedom, right? And because the last ship hit Texas to make sure that they were given their freedom after that last, but it's, I don't know, it kind of ruins it. Like Juneteenth, Juneteenth should be celebrated. I'm not saying it shouldn't. However, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm sketchy on this date. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, Back to Back. Okay, him and Meek Mill. I said when Drake did it, hey, it's kind of corny to do this. And it's the same thing with Kendrick. I'm like, this is kind of corny. And people have milked it into where Not Like Us doesn't have a stinger. It's just like, hey, it's good background noise if you're like drawing or something or driving, but it's not as lethal as it could have been. And that's my problem when you play these diss tracks and Poetic Justice, which I like Poetic Justice, but it does not sting. Like, if somebody plays 7-minute drill, Push Up, Euphoria, 616 in LA. Now I'll go Euphoria because Euphoria's still played, right? But you play 616 in LA, it stings still. And I just don't know like, and then maybe it's to some people want to dance to it, they want a dance track, and I get it. And then he flipped it, and then 6 and Heart. and he did 6 and Heart. I get it. He flipped it because Kendrick did 5 and Heart, so he did 6 and Heart. And I get that's cool. But like it's I don't know. It's weird to me. I don't know. It's weird to me because it seems promotive. It seemed like it was promotion, but then we didn't get that album in May. Like people have rumored the album was gonna drop out in May, and then so it's losing steam. And I'm just like, if an album would have dropped, great. If it didn't drop, great. But Not Like Us has been out for what seems like 6 months. It hasn't been 6 months. It's more been like 2. But it's not as like Not Like Us could have been a deadly track, and it's not deadly anymore because people overuse it. And so you have people like me that are like, hey, I would have loved to have Not Like Us been a lethal track like No Vaseline, Ether, where people hear it, people dance, but it's not like something you play back to back to back, right? Because I said this when I was listening to it. I was like, hey, if you put me in here, and Schoolboy Q, we know they're Top Dog Entertainment, and people assuming that Top Dog Entertainment told people to come out, so people came out. Schoolboy Q says that they were all in the crowd, but it's like, I don't know, like it's, and I don't know, and I do feel like this kind of poisoned hip hop, and I mean that in American hip hop, because American hip hop and rap, it's just, I don't know, like I think it's tired me out, right? Because going into this, I was like, hey, people are gonna be creative, people are gonna do this. This is gonna be like a month of diss tracks. This is gonna be back to back. This is gonna be iconic. This is gonna be great. This is gonna be something where people can enjoy it. It turns out to be 2 weeks. People push one song. People push a bunch of songs like 2 months out, and I'm like, this doesn't have that effect Ether has on me, right? Anytime Ether's played, ooh, like with Jay-Z, like it's not like Takeover when it's not Jay-Z's Takeover. It's just not, I don't feel that same like, oh my God, or the death of hip hop when it's a rumor that Nas dissed Wayne, right? It's not that. It doesn't have that sting to it. Or the death of Autotune of Jay-Z, it doesn't have that. Right? It just doesn't have that. Hip hop's dead. It doesn't have it. Or it doesn't have like that Z. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have. How can I put this? It's not like, you think you're the king already, but you're not already. It's not the fact that Ether got banned. It's not who's the best not Raza Kid. Like it's not the same. So when Remy Ma did it to Nicki, it just doesn't have that same sting. And Not Like Us, to me, could have been that if you were given it enough time. And I think truly, and I have to agree with a lot of people, the fans ruined it. Mainstream media ruined it. Y'all ruined it because y'all played it so much, because people were being biased. They're like, oh, this is the best song ever. And so it's not like No Vaseline. It's not like, hey, the manager, this is not easy. It's not that, right? And so you have people that are like, oh, this is garbage. Oh, you either love it or you hate it, but there's no in between. Because if you hate it, oh, you're supporting this person that's up. If you love it, then, oh, you love hip hop and you're of the culture, when a lot of people of the culture, we have other things in the culture we're fighting. Like a lot of people will say, hey, this is part of your culture, this closest culture, but this isn't like drill rap. This isn't that Nas. It isn't that New York culture. It's not that, it's not that South culture. It's not that Louisiana. It's not that Miami culture. It's not. It hits, but it's not like it's not a movement. And so you have these people you bring up here, but like the original idea of the Bloods and the Crips were for them to help the community and protect them from police brutality. That was the purpose of these two, whatever you want to call them, They were originally supposed to help the culture. What they did was break off after a while because people kept being unalive on both sides. So you now have what people classify as this. We've seen this before. It was the anti-mob laws that people were facing. So that's why I'm saying Not Like Us could have been great. Not Like Us could have been one of the greatest diss tracks of all time. However, when I'm listening to it and I'm like, y'all blew this. Y'all blew this, and this will be my ending on it. But y'all kind of like blew the song out of the way of being like the best diss track of all time because it was overplayed. The reason Hit 'Em Up is so famous is because Hit 'Em Up wasn't played by the media so much. So you felt it in the cultures, you felt it in certain areas. Ether is the same way. You heard him, you felt him in certain cultures. You felt New York after Ether dropped, right? No Vaseline and Gallo. You felt that when that dropped. And so Not Like Us is just, it's weird because people will promote it, but then will like forget that people got killed in California the day that the concert was like done. So it's like, oh, this culture was great, but it's why? Because all I keep hearing is the same line. And it's OVO. Like, it's cool, but like, it's cool maybe the first couple times you hear it, but like, if you hear it 1,000 times, that line has no effect to it. And so people saying party, and it's weird to me because no one understands. It's weird to me because this was great, but it overshadowed, this beef was great, but it overshadowed Party Next Door's PND4, which I would arguably recommend. PND4 was one of the best R&B albums we got this year. But because people don't like know the inner works of it, it was overshadowed by this beef. And I think that's ultimately why Drake pulled it. Because it's like, Party Next Door could have a lot of exposure. But this rap beef is causing Party Next Door not to get the exposure he needs. Which I'm like, that's crazy to me. And I don't know why. And maybe it's just, I don't know. I feel indifferent about this, and I know I feel indifferent about this because maybe I'm trying to be as biased as possible, but Not Like Us just doesn't hit anymore. And I don't know, does Not Like Us hit for anybody else in my audience? Because I do wonder, maybe it's just me and maybe hip hop, the battle of it. It just kind of felt like we